What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and I have a tactics breakdown for you today. And this, once you see the highlights, is what eFootball should be all about. This is proof, and there's many more games to come, but this right here is proof that all these shortcut taking losers that refuse to try to get better at the game, that just go for the nonsense meta and try to put pressure on players defensively and then just spam through balls the whole game, no matter how good their teams are, no matter how high rankings they get, it's all nonsense. It's all a waste for them because they're not playing real football. They're taking every chance they can to take shortcuts. I don't care if Konami puts smart assists out there and lets them use it. I don't care if Konami comes up with a code that they can put in and take a free goal. The point is they take it. They take every shortcut and they won't work at getting better, even though we have a chance as a player base in eFootball to play the best football game by far, by a mile. No arcade nonsense like FC, no whatever you call UFL with all the exploits, just pure football, but players in eFootball refuse to do it. And so this tactical setup is a great way to showcase the beautiful football you can play. And I'll be honest, this setup was inspired by some kind of meta nonsense where there's two wing midfielders, like a left mid and a right mid, then two wingers, left wing, right wing, then a CDM, two shadow strikers playing way deep. So I understood what they were going for, but just the overall setup that they had was gimmicky. However, I seen where that system worked and why it is being widely used by many players, and that's what I stem this off of. So yes, I'm using long ball counter. That is the play style here. Many players who want to play football say that quick counter and long ball counter are just nonsense because of all the assistance. I get where they're coming from. However, with the meta, you have to try to battle that. That's the only way. Now, you can still play beautiful football within quick counter and long ball counter, and you're about to see examples of that. But while I do see what a lot of players are saying with LBC and quick counter, there still is ways to play beautiful football with not only LBC and quick counter, but also with out wide possession, as many players are saying is the way to go if you want to play football, and then even long ball. I did a video series on all the different play styles and played a lot of games and dug into each play style, and you honestly can play great football with every one. Konami did a great job there. The only issue is they then watered the game down with all the nonsense assistance, and pretty much what came in the aftermath was the nonsense non-football meta you see now. But we as a community are going to fight that and work to play great football while getting results too, and that is 1000% my goal, and I feel like I'm off to a great start. We're a little over a month in, and it's obvious to see the improvements. I mean, even if you go from my original eFootball videos to now, I'm learning more and more every single day and getting better and better. Not only that, but I'm already competing with these quote-unquote top-ranked players that are pretty much all using that nonsense meta that I'm talking about that doesn't shed light on how good this game really is. So, let's get into this setup. You see here, it is a 4-1-2-3. And while we did keep that left midfielder out of that setup I was talking about where it had the two wing midfielders with two wingers, the reason why we kept that left midfielder is because on the left side I have Maldini tucked in as a center back. So three center backs. Zanetti shoots up the right side as an attacking fullback, and he provides width. On the left side, we have Totti as a winger looking to cut in, sometimes looking to cross, but that long cross-field ball from Schneider, also even just being an option on the right side to cross over to Schneider when we're under pressure, is huge. So he is essentially a quarterback from the left side of the field. Now, he is a whole player as an attacking midfielder and a left midfielder, which means he's always looking to shoot forward, get into the attack. Does this play style necessarily fit his position here? Technically, no, because as a whole player, right, you're in the middle of the park typically, and you're looking to get through the seams, right, in between the attackers, looking for those spaces to exploit and get through, and a lot of times you're going to run through undetected. So while many people are getting sick of all the whole players, I do see the importance of them. However, in this case, whole player does work, even though Schneider's way out wide left, because we do want him to get forward. And with hole player, if the ball's not on his side and he's not distributing, he is shooting up that left side and overlapping Tati, essentially. Sometimes he even covers that space a little bit into the middle, too. So it works out well because he's a great passer and sort of like an attacking midfielder, but way out wide left. So you just have to see it in action, but it works out great. Now, in the center defensive mid role, we would typically want an anchor man. Right? I have Gattuso as a destroyer that I could put some individual instructions on and it could work out, but I wanted a good passer there, and Pirlo is among the best passers in the game. So how did I make it work with Pirlo being an orchestrator? I put deep line on him, and where that helps is he slides back in between Araujo and Maldini, and then Maldini can cover that left area when Schneider does shoot up. So we're not looking for Schneider to play much defense, right? He's just there as a short option to then connect the defense into the offense. With deep line on Pirlo, it works great because we have good cover in Zanetti. Even though he's an attacking right back, he does a great job at recovering and getting back. So even though it doesn't look like it, we do have good defensive coverage, and we are essentially attacking at times, most times, with 6 players. Zanetti shooting up the right side, Schneider shooting up on that left, either left all the way out wide or into the middle. It varies. Totti starts out wide left and is able to cut in. He's a no-play style left winger. And then, of course, you got Villa there as a secondary striker that's sometimes making runs in, sometimes getting the ball short, and obviously is always a danger with that blitz curler, which I know a lot of players have a problem with that along with Kohler's heading, but to me, they're both defendable. Not once since I've started playing, even when I was real rough defensively, and even now I have a lot of work to do, and I still have never seen the blitz curler or even Kohler's headers or anybody's headers as a problem. I can see where it can be super cheesy and ratty when players just spam either curlers or crosses, but they're not broken to the sense that they can't be marked, right? You can do the job and mark them, so they're not broken in the sense that I call something broken. Now you'll see in these highlights what I'm talking about, but Kohler is not way over there on that right side just to be heading the ball in from Totti. It may look like that and the opponent may prepare for that, which is exactly what we want, because really he's there as a target man, right? I switch that up. You can go second striker if you want him to make runs in behind, but I'll switch that up in game, right, to a center forward. So then he actually works as a target man, not just making runs behind. You can go back and forth with that. As a secondary striker, his target man play style turns off. As a center forward, it turns on and he's more back to goal. So either way, he's great for knockdowns. He's great for laying the ball back. And then we can spray it either through to Villa, who's running in from deeper, out wide to Totti, out wide to Zanetti, making the overlapping run, or even sometimes Schneider, who gets in a supporting role out on the left side. It's just a ton of options. The opponent doesn't know what to do. So the main 2 antagonists to spark our attack would be Pirlo, which I talked about earlier, who defensively falls in as like a back 5 center back. Great defensively, not great in the air, but he has players surrounding him that are good in the air. And then on the offense, he stays in that central defensive mid role, deep as an orchestrator, right? But the other quarterback, if you will, is Johan Cruyff, who is a deep lying forward but attacking midfielder. He's a no play style AMF, and he does a fantastic job. He can pass, he can finish, he can dribble, just an all-around beast, and in the center of the park is where he belongs. And why it's so important for me to go over this is because even though many players aren't going to have this exact team or even a similar team, you can go look for players that play similarly or have the same player roles. So it's just important that you put the right players in these different spots if you want your gameplay to come off like mine, right? So that's why I go through each of these players, and you either have these players or more likely you can go search for players within your team or go get players that play similarly, right? So an all-around beast of a player in your AMF role. The DMF, typically you'd want anchorman. However, if you have a great passer that's also solid defensively like a Pirlo, that's much better, because more often than you would think, that DMF is going to be playing those dangerous passes. So if he's not good at passing, you're just going to miss out on certain opportunities to spark a great attack when that player has the ball. One attacking defender on one side, and then if you can have your opposite side back play center back like how I have Maldini, that's fine. Just have a defensive left back. You only want one attacking back. Or you have 3 center backs, and then where I have Schneider as a left mid, you can actually make that a left back and turn this into a 5-back system. Just make sure your left back has good passing, such as Roberto Carlos would be great for that role, and I'm being honest. If and when I go for Ronaldinho, if and when I get Roberto Carlos, he would most likely replace Schneider out there on that left side. I mean, having that dangerous edge crossing, that the opponent has to worry about, then having Kohler in there, everyone's just going to think, oh, he's just going to spam crosses. They're going to be worried about that. And then, boom, we're going to hit him just like you're going to see in these highlights from Division 3 against a perennial Division 2 player. So that's to come, but that's essentially how this game plays out. You see the bench that I have there, so it's important too that you have a strong bench since you're going to make a ton of attacking runs and you're going to need to switch up some players, right? Make sure that you are aware of your stamina. What I did is I went into the settings and I turned on the stamina bar. So as I'm playing, I know exactly where my players are at. If you don't have that, you just have to be extremely aware, because otherwise your players are going to be dead, some of them, and you're not going to know it, and it's going to cost you. You're not going to know it till it's too late, right? Like for me, Schneider's always the first one that I need to sub, and he runs out of stamina way quicker than the rest of the players. So if I didn't have the stamina bar on, I'd easily be forgetting, and the next thing you know, the opponent goes zooming by him with no energy left at all, and you get scored on, and really that could have been avoided if you were up on when to sub them. So I turned my stamina bar on. If you don't need to, fine, but just be aware of your player's stamina and make sure you have a bench, even if it's not as deep as mine. I get it. I put a lot of money into this team. You still need to have a sufficient bench. It just can't be a starting 11 with nobody's coming in, because that will totally tank your team. Once you sub, if your team just falls off a cliff, any close game is essentially going to most likely go to your opponent. So that's how this plays. We're strong up the middle, looking to play to feet a lot. Those long switches come off very nicely, whether it's from Zanetti to Totti or Schneider all the way to Kohler. You don't want to do that every time, but if you're under pressure, especially those quick counter pressure, the meta, right? Those meta opponents, those long switches can help. So having good passers where I have Schneider and Zanetti is huge. But we have the ability to tiki-taka through the middle, up, back, and throughs all the way up the field. And we have the ability to create chances through the middle or through the wings, either through Zanetti on the right or through Totti or Schneider on the left. So you just have an all-around beast of a setup that the opponent's not going to know where you're coming from. You're going to be able to attack all different ways. Now, if you find yourself needing more defensive cover, you can always change, for instance, Cruyff into a CMF or even a DMF. Now, you would be taken away from your attack some, but if you, for instance, put like a Pirlo where Cruyff is and moved him back to a CMF and then had another maybe anchorman at DMF, that could work. And then, like I said earlier, if you had another attacking left back instead of a left midfielder, that would be a bit more defensive too. But if you're going to give it a go, I strongly suggest you play it just like this. Go into versus AI matches, right? Turn the opponent difficulty level to a point where it's a challenge, though, because otherwise you're not going to really be able to see exactly what you need to see. So go in, play it exactly how I have it is what my recommendation is, and then you can always tweak it from there. Now, let's get into it. And we start with AI divisions, which is a good challenge as you get higher. I'm in Division 3, and I can tell you, for those that believe there's scripting in this game, this is something that pretty much backs you because it goes in waves, right? It seems like when they want the opponent to score, the opponent's going to score. However, it is a challenge, and you can play beautiful football. So you see there, Kohler being used how Kohler should be used. Back to goal, receives the ball, beautiful turn, beautiful finish. And then if you decide this setup's right for you or you need to tweak it a little bit, once you feel comfortable, get into divisions or events and see how you do. Now, I'm in the red, obviously opponent's in the white. You're going to see here the beautiful build-up that you can do. We're coming down the right side. Now, this is where I have Kohler as a shadow striker. The difference is if he's a center forward, target man, he's going to be a little more central, looking to get the ball back to goal. Right? When you have him as shadow striker, he will go out wide, which it's not the best place for him. However, sometimes it does work out because, again, many opponents are going to man mark him thinking you're just going for crosses, and he can literally take a defender, usually a center back, who's man marking him out of the game. You see this beautiful long cross, and that's what I was talking about. You're going to see this is going to lead to our first goal, and it's just a totally different attack. The opponent's not going to be ready. because the way you are attacking is so unpredictable. There's so many different options. They're not just going to be able to prepare. Whereas the current meta and how most of these players, play, it's predictable, right? Now, it's still going to be hard to stop in some instances, but at least the way you're attacking, you're able to play beautiful football, score in a variety of ways, and still get the results. So as you see Totti finish off the second goal of the game, I want to walk through this with you and show you this is the epitome of what eFootball is about. This is what this setup is all about. Now you see, beautiful defensive stop. We're in long ball counter as a deep line, so you just have to be patient. Don't go rushing and run around like crazy like the typical meta defense. You drop back, and because we are in long ball counter, the line is deep. So you're going to have players getting behind the ball, and then you are patiently waiting for your opponent to get in a position where you then can pressure, tackle, win the ball. You don't want to go running around like crazy, diving in. You don't want to pull all your players out of shape. You patiently wait, and when the time is right, you make a tackle, and then you work the ball upfield. You see here, Kohler in a shadow striker position, so he's a little wider. As a center forward, he'd just be a little more central. He does his job as a target man, gets the ball to feet, and then lays it back. You see here, Schneider as that left mid, but a hole player, he's pulled more into the middle, and then Schneider waited a little on there, but plays it right back to Kohler's feet, who then lays it to Cruyff, our center attacking mid, and now look, we have Zanetti totally released because all of the opponent's defenders were sucked into the middle, and Zanetti's free down that right side. Now, he could drive the end line if he wanted to, which is probably what the opponent thinks, so we cut it back, drop it back to Cruyff, and now look at Totti, right? Instead of going directly to Totti, there's several different options. Schneider, remember, he's a left mid, but as a whole player, he shoots up the field, covers that area, central to the left, plays it to Totti, who finishes it. And notice through there, by the way, we had so many different options. Back when Schneider played it back to Kohler's feet, right, that could have actually went directly to Cruyff. In that situation right there, Schneider could have shot it, or we could have played directly to Totti. And you're going to see that time and time again, just several different options. And as you can see, we aren't playing that meta through ball, win it, through ball. And we are in a counter setup. We are in long ball counter. But again, we are passing, moving, playing good football, playing good defense, not going crazy, just chasing after the opponent, trying to pressure them, trying to get the ball off their feet so we can then run through. We are earning our tackles. We are earning our chances we create through proper football. That's what it's all about. This is what eFootball has the ability to produce. Konami made a great game only to water it down to suit the low-skill, low-level losers that just want to take shortcuts and win at something. Apparently, they need wins in their life, which makes sense if they're that lazy that they're playing a football simulator and don't want to really play football. So, let them do that. We will actually play good football. You see here another beautiful long ball into a David Villa finish, and this came from the opponent trying to press up, me seeing that they had an extremely high line and taking advantage of it. So whether you use this exact 4-1-2-3 setup or tweak it a bit to fit how you play, you can see the biggest thing is you're attacking in numbers and you have a variety of ways to create chances and score goals. So while you're playing good football, you're also going to be having a ton of fun. There's no way anybody can say that this isn't way better than just spamming through ball, and just pressing triangle the whole time, then shoot. Triangle the whole time, then shoot. Defensively, just holding down R1, holding down X. Holding down R1, holding down X. Triangle, triangle, triangle. You get what I'm saying? It's not football at all. It's nonsense. This setup brings out the best in every player. Say you're a free-to-play team, so be it. You can absolutely have success with this. But say you have some legends in your team, or a mixed team even, or a God squad like me. It's going to bring out the best in these players and really show the details in how these players played in real life. You can bring it to eFootball. Konami does such a good job keeping these players, whether they're legends or current players, true to how they play in real life, but they then watered it down to fit these loser players that don't actually want to play football. So don't be one of them. Let your opponents finish the games like this, quitting in rage because you played excellent football, got a ton of goals, and got the result. This has been the 4-1-2-3 Meta Tactics Breakdown. Let me know in the comments section if you're going to give it a go. And keep grinding, keep having fun, keep fighting the good fight. I will see you on the next one. Peace out.